Have you ever wondered what's really causing your pain beneath the surface? What if the struggles you face aren't just random misfortunes, but deep truths that every human being must face? In this video, we're going to uncover 6 painful truths about life, grounded in ancient Buddhist wisdom. These truths might feel uncomfortable at first, but they hold the key to awakening, freedom, and lasting peace. Life can be confusing and unfair. We chase happiness, success, and love, only to find disappointment and loss along the way. Why does this happen? Buddhism offers us a way to understand the root of our suffering by revealing painful realities that many try to avoid. If you're ready to see life with new eyes, to understand the source of suffering and how to move beyond it, then stay with me. Together, we will explore these 6 truths, not to bring despair, but to guide you toward a deeper acceptance and a more meaningful way of living. Because the journey to true happiness begins by facing the hardest realities head-on. Let's begin. 1. Life is short. We live as if we have forever. We put off what matters. We delay love, healing, forgiveness. We waste hours chasing things that don't last: status, possessions, the approval of others. Deep down, we know time is limited, but we keep acting like it's not. Buddhism teaches impermanence, anicca. It means everything that arises will also pass. Your youth, your relationships, your successes, even your breath, all of it is temporary. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, "Better than 100 years lived without seeing the rise and fall of things is one day lived seeing their rise and fall." In other words, it's not about how long we live, it's about whether we're awake while we're here. Buddhism doesn't teach us to fear death, but to live with awareness of it, not in a morbid way, but in a liberating one. When you truly grasp that life is short, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop clinging to what's already fading. You begin to choose presence over distraction, depth over noise. Every breath you take is a reminder you're still here. But for how long? No one knows. So let this truth be a gift, not a curse. Let it wake you up. Let it soften your heart. Let it guide you to live, not someday, but now, because life is short, but awareness, that can last forever. 2. People will hurt you, and you will hurt others. It's one of the hardest things to accept. The people you love the most will hurt you, and whether you mean to or not, you'll hurt them too. Sometimes it's through words we didn't mean. Other times it's silence when someone needed us to speak. And then there's betrayal, disappointment, rejection, pain that leaves deep emotional scars. It's tempting to think, if people really loved me, they wouldn't hurt me. But Buddhism offers a different lens. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes not from others, but from our expectations of them. We expect perfection. We expect them to always understand us, always be kind, always choose us. But like us, they're human, flawed, wounded, and often unaware of their own pain. Buddhism teaches about the 3 poisons: ignorance, attachment, and aversion. These live in all of us, and from them we act out. We lie, lash out, withdraw, or blame. Not because we're bad, but because we're unconscious. Holding on to anger, the Buddha said, is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. So what do? We start by acknowledging the truth. Everyone we meet is carrying invisible wounds, even the ones who hurt us, even us. We practice compassion, not to excuse harmful behavior, but to see the pain behind it. We learn to forgive, not just others, but ourselves. Because you will say the wrong thing. You will break someone's trust, and you'll wish you could take it back. But Buddhism teaches us that awareness is the path to healing. The moment you become conscious of your actions is the moment you can begin to change. So yes, people will hurt you, and yes, you'll hurt others. But you are not your pain, and they are not their mistakes. You are both human, both healing, and both capable of something deeper. Understanding, that's where freedom begins. 3. Everything can change in a split second. You wake up thinking you know how your day will go, but then the phone rings. A job is lost. A diagnosis is given. Someone walks away. And suddenly, everything you thought was solid shatters. Life doesn't ask for permission to change. It just does. One moment you're laughing. The next, you're in tears. One decision, one accident, one sentence from someone you love can flip your whole world upside down. Buddhism calls this impermanence, anicca. It's the truth that everything, your body, your relationships, your thoughts, your emotions, is always changing. We try so hard to hold on to routine, to comfort, to people, to certainty. But the truth is, nothing is guaranteed, not even the next breath. It's a painful truth, but also a liberating one. When you truly understand that everything can change in a split second, you stop taking life for granted. You stop assuming there will always be time later, time to fix the relationship, to follow your dreams, to say, "I love you," or even just to rest. Buddhism doesn't ask us to fear change. It asks us to wake up to it, to see that clinging to what's fading is the source of suffering. There's a story in the Buddhist tradition about a man who lost everything in a flood. His home, his family, his livelihood. When people asked how he stayed calm, he simply said, "This too has changed, and so will everything that comes after." It sounds cold, but it's not. It's clarity. It's the understanding that everything is temporary, both the joy and the pain. So what can we do? We can learn to live fully in this moment, knowing it won't last. We can say what needs to be said while we still have the chance. We can stop waiting for the right time and realize that now is all we've ever had, because the same truth that says everything can fall apart also says everything can begin again. You can wake up tomorrow and meet someone who changes your life. You can receive unexpected forgiveness. You can find peace in the middle of chaos. You can rebuild. You can rise. This is the paradox of impermanence. What breaks your heart today may free it tomorrow. What ends may be the beginning. And what hurts now may become the source of your deepest wisdom. The only constant in life is that it never stays the same. So don't waste this moment. Don't sleepwalk through your life waiting for someday. Let change humble you. Let it awaken you. Let it remind you that life is fragile, but beautiful because it moves. Everything can change in a split second, and sometimes that's exactly what saves you. 4. What you own is not who you are. In today's world, we're taught to define ourselves by what we have. Your car, your house, your job title, your bank balance, your social media followers. We collect things and achievements like badges of honor, as if they prove our worth. But what happens when those things are gone? When you lose your job, your house, or your relationship, do you lose yourself too? Buddhism teaches us a powerful truth. Who you are is not what you own. This idea is at the heart of the Buddha's teachings on attachment and non-self, anatta. Attachment to possessions, status, or even our own identity is one of the root causes of suffering. When we cling to these things, we build a fragile self-image on shifting sand. Think about it. Everything we own is temporary. A phone can break, money can vanish, fame fades. And even our bodies, this vessel we live in, will change and eventually return to the earth. The Buddha said, "All conditioned things are impermanent." When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This means when we deeply realize that what we have is not permanent and not truly us, we begin to let go of the fear and anxiety that comes from trying to protect or possess. So, who are you, if not your things? Buddhism invites us to look inward, to find the true self beneath all external labels. The self Buddha points to is not a fixed identity or ego, but a flowing, changing process. Your thoughts, feelings, and experiences arise and pass away like waves on the ocean. There is no permanent you to hold on to. This may sound unsettling at first. If you strip away your possessions, your status, your name, what's left? What's left is freedom. Freedom from the endless chase for more. Freedom from comparing yourself to others. Freedom from the pain of losing what you thought made you valuable. In Buddhist practice, the path to this freedom begins with mindfulness, watching how attachment grows in your mind. Not judging yourself, but simply noticing when you start to define yourself by things outside you. When you see this clearly, you start to realize your value doesn't come from your paycheck. Your worth isn't tied to your possessions. Your identity is not bound by your social media likes or your job title. You are valuable simply because you exist, because you breathe, because you have the capacity to feel, to love, to suffer, and to grow. This truth can be incredibly healing. When you stop identifying with what you own, you stop living in fear of losing it. You can enjoy what you have without being enslaved by it. You can give freely without clinging. You can live with greater peace and contentment. It also opens the door to compassion, because when you see beyond possessions, you see the shared humanity in everyone. You recognize that others too are struggling with attachment, fear, and loss. This understanding softens judgment and hardens empathy. So, how do you start this process? Begin small. Notice your feelings when you lose something, a possession, a status, or a relationship. Notice the urge to hold on tighter, to protect, to grasp. Then take a breath. Remind yourself, this feeling, this thing, this identity, it is temporary. And beneath it all is something deeper, your true self, the open space of awareness that doesn't need to cling. Buddhist meditation invites you to rest in that awareness, to see the impermanence of all things, including the I that holds on to them. It's a lifelong practice, but every step frees you from the false belief that who you are depends on what you own. In the end, you are more than your possessions. You are not your job, your car, your money, or your achievements. You are a living, breathing being capable of love, kindness, and wisdom. And that is your true worth. 5. There is always pain before success. We often hear stories of success, the shining moments when dreams come true, goals are achieved, and life seems perfect. But what those stories don't always show us is the pain behind the success. The struggles, the setbacks, the failures, and the moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. The truth is, there is always pain before success. Buddhism teaches us that suffering, or dukkha, is a natural part of life. It's not just something to avoid, but something to understand deeply. The Buddha's first noble truth says that suffering exists. The second noble truth explains the causes of suffering, often rooted in our attachments, desires, and expectations. But what Buddhism also teaches is how pain can be a path, a doorway to awakening and growth. When you chase success, you might think it will bring happiness, but often it brings challenge first. Pain tests your commitment, patience, and resilience. It forces you to confront your fears, your limits, and your weaknesses. It strips away illusions and false hopes. Without pain, success can be hollow, because it is through difficulty that we build strength and wisdom. Think about the Buddha's own life. Before enlightenment, he spent years in hardship, fasting, meditation, and deep self-reflection. He faced physical and mental suffering, yet he did not give up. That pain was the soil where his wisdom grew. Without it, there would be no awakening. This is true for every person's journey. Pain is not punishment, but a teacher. It is uncomfortable because it challenges us to grow beyond our current selves. Whether it's the pain of rejection, failure, loss, or self-doubt, these moments push us to look deeper inside and find a new kind of strength. In the modern world, we often want quick fixes and instant results. We want success without struggle. But Buddhism encourages patience, kshanti, the ability to endure hardship with calm and perseverance. It reminds us that growth takes time, and pain is part of that process. When you face pain on your path, try to see it differently. Instead of resisting or running from it, ask, what is this pain teaching me? What can I learn about myself? How can this struggle help me become stronger, wiser, more compassionate? Mindfulness practice helps here. By staying present with pain, without judgment or avoidance, you begin to understand its nature. You see that pain, like everything else, is impermanent. It arises, changes, and passes away. This understanding gives you freedom, not freedom from pain, but freedom in pain. Pain before success is also a reminder of your resilience. Every time you face difficulty and keep going, you are proving your inner strength. You are growing your capacity to handle whatever life throws at you. This builds confidence and deepens your sense of self. Success, then, is not just about achieving goals. It's about transformation. It's about becoming someone who can meet life's challenges with courage and clarity. When you reach success after pain, it feels more meaningful because you've earned it through growth. So, if you're struggling right now, whether it's in your career, relationships, health, or personal growth, remember this: the pain is part of your story, not the end of it. It's a sign that you're moving forward, evolving, and preparing for something greater. Buddhism teaches that true success isn't measured by what you get, but by how you grow. It's about wisdom, compassion, and freedom from suffering. And these come only when we are willing to face pain honestly, learn from it, and keep moving. Next time you feel overwhelmed by difficulty, pause, breathe. Remember that pain is a path, not a punishment. You are not alone in this. The Buddha walked it before you, and countless others have found light on the other side. Pain before success is inevitable, but it's also a powerful teacher. Embrace it, learn from it, let it transform you. Because beyond the pain lies the success that truly matters, a success rooted in strength, wisdom, and peace. 6. No one escapes aging, sickness, and death. This is one of the most profound and challenging truths we face. No one escapes aging, sickness, and death. It's a reality that touches every living being, no matter who you are, where you come from, or what you believe. It doesn't discriminate. It's the great equalizer. In our modern world, we often avoid thinking about this truth. We push it to the back of our minds, distracting ourselves with busy lives, endless entertainment, and constant striving for youth and health. But Buddhism invites us to face it head-on. The Buddha's teachings are clear. All conditioned things are impermanent. Our bodies age, they weaken, they become ill, and eventually they die. This is not a curse or punishment, but simply the natural way of life. This truth can be painful to accept because it confronts our deepest fears. Fear of loss, fear of the unknown, fear of no longer existing. But Buddhists see it as a door to deeper understanding and peace. When we recognize that aging, sickness, and death are inevitable, we begin to live differently. We stop clinging to illusions of permanence and start appreciating the preciousness of each moment. The Buddha said, "Reflect on this truth daily, that all things are subject to decay. This awareness will guide you to live with wisdom and compassion." Why wisdom and compassion? Because awareness of our mortality softens the heart. It reminds us that everyone we meet is on this journey too. Everyone faces pain, fear, and loss. This realization breaks down walls between us and opens us to kindness. Facing this truth can also free us from the constant anxiety about the future. Instead of fearing death or trying to avoid it, we can prepare by living fully, honestly, and meaningfully right now. Buddhist practice encourages mindfulness of the body and its changes. Observing aging and sickness as natural processes helps us reduce resistance and denial. When we resist, we suffer more. When we accept, we find peace. This doesn't mean giving up on health or happiness. It means embracing reality while doing what we can to care for ourselves and others. It also means cultivating detachment, not as coldness, but as freedom from clinging. We learn to love without grasping, to care without controlling, and to live without fear of loss. Death in Buddhism is seen not as the end, but as part of the continuous flow of existence, an opportunity for transformation. The cycle of birth, aging, sickness, death, and rebirth continues until awakening frees us from it. This understanding can give us courage. It invites us to ask, what kind of life will I live, knowing it won't last forever? How can I make my time meaningful? How can I face the inevitable with grace? When we embrace this painful truth, we start to live with urgency and gratitude. We value connection over possessions. We prioritize kindness over ambition. We find joy in simple moments. So, yes, no one escapes aging, sickness, and death. But these realities don't have to be sources of despair. They can be teachers guiding us to wake up. They remind us that life is fragile and precious, that every breath is a gift, and that in the face of impermanence, our greatest strength is love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for this fleeting journey we share. As we've explored together, these 6 painful truths are not meant to bring despair, but to awaken us, to invite us into a deeper understanding of life as it truly is. Life is short. People will hurt you, and you will hurt others. Everything can change in a split second. What you own is not who you are. There is always pain before success, and no one escapes aging, sickness, and death. Each truth touches on something we often try to avoid: the fragility, the uncertainty, and the suffering that lives alongside joy and beauty. But Buddhism teaches us that awakening begins with acceptance. When we stop resisting these realities, we open the door to freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of craving and disappointment. Freedom from clinging to illusions of permanence. Freedom to live with presence, compassion, and courage. These truths ask us to look deeply into our own experience, to see pain not as punishment, but as a teacher, to understand that change is the only constant, to find our true worth beyond possessions or status, to recognize that growth often comes through struggle, and to face mortality not with fear, but with wisdom and grace. Living with this awareness is not always easy. It asks for patience, mindfulness, and a softening of the heart. But it also offers something priceless, a chance to live fully awake. So let these painful truths be your guide. Let them wake you up to what matters most. Because in embracing life's impermanence and imperfection, we find the courage to truly live. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May these truths bring you peace and insight on your own path.